Shelley Clark. I'm the principal at Lakewood Elementary School, and this week we are having a STEM Fairytale camp. The idea really came to us because every year we do a summer camp at Lakewood. Normally we feature something with reading or math or leadership. And this past school year at Lakewood, we had a makerspace in our library, and we also had a class called Discovery Lab. And in that Discovery Lab class, students did a lot of STEM activities. And we found that students really enjoyed that class, so we thought we would combine our summer camp reading focus with a STEM focus. And when we started looking into that, there's a company called Lakeshore Education that was selling kits called Fairytale STEM kits. And so we purchased some of those kits with the summer camp money, and then the teachers have gotten creative as well. And so today, actually this whole week, we have offered different fairy tales with different science building activities along with them. So we have everything ranging from the Three Billy Goats Gruff to Goldilocks and the Three Bears to some of Grimm's fairy tales that are kind of unheard of, and we're just trying to relate each one of those to some kind of science or engineering kind of task. This week we had 100 kids register for the camp, and so far we've been at about 70–80% of that every day. And so we have a lot of kids here, and we're excited for them to continue learning. And we'll be doing this every day, Monday through Friday here at Lakewood, and having a great time with kids learning and reading and creating. STEM stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math, and it's a pretty big initiative right now as far as schools go because there's so many careers in those fields that are kind of unfilled positions. And so as schools, it's, we've been kind of making a focus on those 4 areas. So STEM is just our way of making sure that these kids get access to activities that may help them in future careers. I think, in elementary school, a lot of people kind of, they get their idea for what they want to do with the rest of their life kind of sometimes in elementary school. And so if we can spark that interest at a young age and get these kids motivated to maybe do those careers in the future, hopefully there'll be a lifelong learning process for them. So that's our big focus, is just getting them interested in these kind of activities and these career fields in the hope that someday they'll pursue those careers as adults. In all of the classes, you'll see lots of creating. You'll see kids listening to or reading fairy tales. You'll see kids planning to create, like a lot of the activities require that they write out their plan before they create it. You may see some classes where they're acting out the fairy tale, so a little bit of art's built into there too. You may see kids, you'll definitely see kids working together in teams, which is another important skill that we want them to learn for life, because we all have to work together as adults as well. So a lot of cooperative learning and just building and thinking together and being creative.
Monday and Tuesday we did a lot of things with boats. We built a raft and we got our family across the water successfully, but today we're going to do things with Paul Bunyan. Raise your hand if you're familiar with that story. I know that in my class we did a little bit about Paul Bunyan. A little bit. Seems like maybe, kind of, sort of remember. It's all right, because I'm going to read you the story of Paul Bunyan right now. It says, have you ever heard the story of Paul Bunyan? He was a famous lumberjack. A lumberjack is someone who cuts down trees. A dozen storks were needed to carry baby Paul Bunyan to his parents. They were all tired out when they landed. You see, baby Paul was as big as 3 grown men. Paul's mama and papa used a wagon for his bed. It took a pair of horses to pull it. They drove that wagon up and down the mountains to rock baby Paul to sleep. As they were crossing Arizona, Paul accidentally dragged his axe on the ground. Today, you can still see where this happened. It's called the Grand Canyon. You all remember about the Grand Canyon? The deep valleys. Paul felt kind of bad about that accident. He decided to build a wagon to carry his gear. It would have to be very strong. Paul's knapsack was enormous. So I have Paul's knapsack here. This is Paul's knapsack. He needs to carry this and his axe, but he can't carry them both at the same time. So what you all have to do is help Paul to build a wagon so that he can carry his axe in one arm and pull his knapsack in the wagon with the other. So the materials in front of you are all that you have. You're going to work in a group of 4 this time. All that you have to build your wagon to help Paul out. Okay, and just like we did with the raft, I'm going to give you a paper to plan first. Okay, so we're building a wagon to hold this knapsack. But here's the thing, your wagon has to be able to pull this knapsack 36 inches without falling apart. Okay, I know, 36 inches without falling apart. So with your table group, you're going to have to work together and think, how can I use the materials that I have to build a wagon to carry Paul's knapsack? So you have a set of rubber bands. I think there's plenty in there. I don't think I have to pull out any extra. I'm going to take some tape measure and I'm going to measure 36 inches, and then you all can pull your wagon to test it. You have some wooden rods, which we've used before. Some planks.
But smaller?
You think they're smaller?
No, like more skinnier than
Perhaps.
next time when we make boats.
You think they're thinner? Maybe. And then we have, what are these?
Wheels.
Our wheels. And how many of those do you have?
4.
So should your plan include 5 wheels?
No?
Do you have 5 wheels to work with? No, so think about that.
We can attach these to it.
We can connect them.
We all think you
Yeah, we could. We could rubber band them.
Yeah, but if I was gonna carry it, this can come out.
Christian says planks, but use it how?
Dude, but these can't attach. This can't come out.
It's gonna be after like the floor of it.
That's a good idea. Share that with your group.
Wait, we can like use.
No, you can't connect those. I already tried the circles.
Connect it. You can't connect it to it.
No.
I was thinking like if you were gonna use like logs as a top, so you can kind of take 2 and it can connect to both of them, kind of.
What if it goes like this? What if it goes like this and just keep building up with them?
No,
Like
what I was
this,
thinking.
or like kind of like rubber band and stuff around.
I'm just listening. Go ahead. Got good ideas?
So we could put it like this, and then we
No,
could put like
I was
rubber
thinking
bands.
maybe we could make the wagon long to where it's that length. You put that there, and then we add these extra logs for support for the that.
I don't know. I just don't know how we're gonna like get this and this.
Now, how would you get that to stay? Christian, do you have an idea how should we get that to stay? What about you?
Nope, no clue.
No clue?
You use these to keep them up.
The rubber bands? How would you?
Wait, I have an idea. I need it's a part of my idea. Yeah, it is, but I have an idea of how the rubber bands would stick together to make the sides. Well then, we'll just float like. Trust me, I've done this before. This looks like a bench. And I've used a rubber band. Like,
Is that part of your wagon?
No.
Coming together?
It could. Yes, probably.
You've all done so well so far, but now you just have to build the wagon part.
I don't know how we're doing this. I don't know how. How?
You had a good start there.
Yeah, you had.
Look at your illustrations. How can you create what you've drawn?
I'm trying to do what you did, but I can't.
Dude, that crib is as big as a Titanic.
It is. Sam, I'm gonna need you in a minute. It's the really it's past the Titanic times. That means it's the past Titanic.
The challenge, you're going to design and build a dam that will stop a flood of water. Okay? And these represent our houses. Okay? So we're going to place our houses down there at the bottom. Okay? We have rocks. We have logs. We have modeling clay. Okay? If you all remember, those of you who were here at Lakewood in the fall, whenever we did the Hurricane Harvey and we were trying to protect our home from the storm surge, we used modeling clay. Okay? But remember, once it starts getting wet, it doesn't work so well. Okay? So you've got modeling clay, you've got your logs, you've got your rocks. Okay? So before we start building, though, what do we have to do? We have to plan. Okay? We have to brainstorm. We have to come up with our ideas. All right? So what I want you to do is I want you to talk at your table. I'll get you all supplies here in just a second. And go ahead and start planning what you think would work to make a dam, because what we'll do is we're going to pour water from up here
and the dam needs to stop the water from flowing and flooding the village. You have some ideas? Okay, remember, have a good plan sketched out, probably with what supplies you're going to use, maybe a labeled diagram of what you're going to use where.
And the water's gonna be coming from here. That's just like as if it's water. The rocks is gonna have clays holding it together, like holding it together. Okay. So here's mine, and then like some more. That's rocks, and they all of them have a little bit of clay in it. That wouldn't fit. We need another.
I'm making a wall. We need to know why so we can put some more.
I'm making a wall. Can I make
might have
this right here?
We need to know what.
I know.
So you guys are representing the little boy trying to save his
They
village.
don't have to do that.
The story that we read.
There's that much water in this tiny house.
Yeah, mine has to be pretty wide, but
It has to be enough to hold.
need something to fit and put this.
Also remember too, modeling clay, we don't want to use an entire thing. That's to stick things together.
Yeah, that's
Okay?
I have some, but we have.
Yeah.
Will have some spots.
Yeah, and I wouldn't use a whole piece of modeling clay. These are our supplies. The modeling clay is kind of like mortar, you know, like when you're putting bricks together or rocks together. So you need small pieces of modeling clay to kind of fill in the holes probably.
Oh, so modeling
We could
clay
just
is supposed
take
to fill in the hole.
And get things to stick together.
So
You don't want to just put a whole thing of modeling clay.
Jeez.
That's not the purpose of it.
I think you're supposed to have that many sticks.
we need just need sticks.
I'm going to take the modeling clay. I'm going to put it right there. And I'm going to stick it together.
We need some more rocks. We're gonna put some right in the crack. We have a crack. Let's make sure all cracks are filled. And should we add some
It doesn't
rocks on our wood?
Actually, I was not sure if it would stick.
And let's add some
Yeah, and
modeling
modeling
clay
clay
on the
too.
wood.
It kind of takes you
Like
warming
add
it up
some
in your
little
hands
modeling clay on the wood.
to get it to be pliable.
Like put modeling clay and we have locks on it. Like you have a lock right here.
Any little holes.
Where are we gonna put the rocks? Actually, that one.
We're gonna,
Because
because there's not much clay at the bottom, we're just gonna
make
put
sure
it like
everything's in
right
perfect position.
Here's something to keep in mind. Some
just
tips.
a dam.
Water can fit into very small spaces and leak through. The best dams use flexible materials to fill in all the small gaps and holes. But the material may need to be pushed into those areas to successfully create a watertight seal. Use the putty as a plug as well as a liner will help fill all those small spaces created along the bottom and sides of the dam. So kind of like what you all already talking about. Making sure you fill in the spaces. All right, ready? Oh no! It flooded the houses. Okay.
Overflowing.
All right.
A tiny simple gap.
Yep. I was gonna say, try to look and see where and what needs to be.
It was right here.
Okay, so we've tested. So now what do we need to do? We need to kind of look at it, see what didn't work, replan, and solve the problem. Yeah. Flash Claire.
Yes, I do.
Oh.
Be good, Mr. Flood.
I think so.
Oh
The houses aren't dying. None of them have fell.
We are creating a different mode of transportation for some of our fairy tale characters from our stories. Just giving them different alternatives to make things. We started out with making cars yesterday and racing them and seeing how far they would go and things like that. And today they're kind of more open to what kind of vehicle or transportation they can make.
finished.
Wait, I want to hold it. Let me see if it drags. Oh, that's
Have creative. Nate and I have a pirate ship.
we're done. But it drags.
Hold on, let me get the Lego person.
Here we go.
What fairy tale character are y'all helping?
Cinderella.
And what did you make for Cinderella?
A robot. A robot. It can clean and it can move her.
How's it going to move her?
That would just kill her.
It's a squeeze.
Alright, so maybe the stem process we should go try again?
Yes.
Alright, so what are you going to do to make it better? What's it need? Go back
Nothing. It just fell over.
I was trying to see how fast. Watch out, Brian. Oh, you just knocked her off. Okay, so they go this way. I'm hoping that my motorcycle looks really cool. Then we need one of these. We need one of these 4x4s. Oh, I actually did it.
It's only supposed to help please, but you never
So when you go to the airplane station, there are going to be 4 different planes that you can design. So how many people can do one at the same time? If there are 4 of them. How many people could be working at one time? 4. Right, 4. So less watching today. I want to see more people working. There is an activity card that tells you step by step what to do. And there's also a place for you to record your information once you measure. You're going to be measuring the distance between the wings and measuring how far the plane flies. Okay. I also have Alexander Graham Bell. So you'll have to come up with a plan, and then you will, once you have your plan, what will you do next? What? No.
We sketch it out.
Mm-hmm. Right. I heard it. Create. Then? Okay. What if your plan does not work? When you test it, what if it doesn't work? No, you can't test again. Right, Abby, plan again. Okay. So we'll just start with those 2 today, and we'll see how far we get. Alexander Graham Bell, what did he invent? Well, so this one is, honestly, of all the stations that I have, this is the one that's usually the most popular. Because you're actually going to try to design an affordable telephone system. And it actually rings. This grid right here that you're going to put together, actual town, actually has the same number of spots and places where you can put the telephone poles and the houses on here.
Do y'all walk at the same group?
Yeah, we all work together.
Good. So, would you want these like in the middle of somewhere? I think we need like 3 so we can make a power line. Or something like that. There's buildings too, or 2 lines. Buildings. And if we make the power line, we're gonna need 3 wires or 2.
Well, look at the difference in the wires. How are they different?
Short and long. Short. And there's long.
Okay, so like 2 long ones and 3 poles.
Okay, so where are you
Where
going
do these come in? I don't see them.
I think I know what the, I don't think this is gonna work, but.
Yeah, but we're like, where do these?
Well, these are the buildings, so they're gonna be placed.
Oh, just randomly.
To this.
And look, you can see here. Look at this. There's a building, this corner and this corner. Town 2 has 3, and then Town 3 has 4. So you notice here that hang on, look here, remember before you start messing with this and placing things, you gotta have a plan. Town 1, what is their budget? $225. Okay. So with Town 1, if you were to place a building here and here, you're gonna have to figure out how much it would cost to have a telephone system that will go from this building to this building. Okay. Town 2, how is it different?
It's 350 and it has 3 buildings.
Okay. And
Has 4 buildings in it. It's 525.
okay. So you're gonna just pick a layout of one of the towns. It's totally up to you. Just pick one.
2.
Yes, it requires math because what is part of STEM?
Do you all want building layout 2 or 1? There's 3 is just it's out of town. 1. That's not 1.
Okay, so before you start trying to connect any wires, you're gonna have to determine how many short wires, how many long wires, and how many poles will you need, and draw them on this diagram where they would go. Draw them on here.
So more on like 1 here.
Good.
They start from the hill, and then around the hill. It's over 60. Another one. Go. Just write it down. It's now 60. Oh no, the lights shut off. I think it went straight. Like,
No, but
Okay.
back again.
Actually, this one's asking you to do. It was 90 millimeters between.
It was 9.
For the second test,
This is basically
Long wire. We're gonna need 1 long. Actually, we need 2 of them. See, when I say this, we gotta connect this. Hey, don't worry, but this okay. Because it's like this. I told you, not on the very back. I think I'm just right here. And what I've been doing this whole time.
Hi, we're working with the story of the 3 little pigs today, and what they're trying to do is they're trying to build a tower to get into their zip line that they made yesterday. So they made their zip line yesterday, they all succeeded with that. So today they're trying to make a tower to get up to the zip line out of index cards. They have 25 index cards, a pair of scissors, and some tape, and they have to see how high they can get their tower.
Oh my god, they go crazy. Hey, watch us break balance. We're not making a tower, dude. We are making a tower. Yeah, that's the exact thing we're doing. We're not making a tower. That's not gonna work. That will. Lady. Yeah, there we go. Straighten it up a little. Just stack snapjacks. It's not gonna be tall. That's the good thing. That means it's tall. Yeah. If the more it's gonna collapse. That means it's gonna work. Yeah, if it's tall, it's the better it is. The taller it is, the more it can fall. Yeah. That's the good thing about it. At least I'm helping. Yes. There. There. It's pretty.
Remember, guys, you got to get that good base, right? Get the base against the bottom again. Maybe don't try from there. Should put the same height though.
Take it easy, man.
Maybe put this to this.
Okay. Okay. Here, use that card. We have enough cards. Don't try that. Don't try that. Okay.
Dude, theirs is taller than ours right now.
It don't matter. We just came here to have fun. Don't try taping it.
There's one over here, Joe. There's one like that. And don't be, so that tape back here too.
I know, but I haven't passed there.
You down in what?
I haven't been fun. We have to fix the bottom.
No, I know it's tipping. I have an idea. Sorry.
What are you doing? What's that doing?
It's balancing it. It could help it.
Makes it twice the times taller. Here, we're getting tips. We're just getting tips.
No, big fella. No.
You don't even have.
Cylinders.
No.
This is making all the cylinders on our own.
No.
Wait, we're destroying yours.
No.
How do you make cylinders?
I don't know.
Like this.
It's not on my calendar
What happened?
to destroy.
What
To
happened?
destroy my calendar.
It just
It's
fell
not
over on its
to
own.
destroy
That's
their- You respect your elders.
I've seen the air. You can see
Why are we doing 3 triangles? We won't have it.
Hold on.
Hold on. Why are you acting so cool? Alright,
the air is visible right now.
What's up
The
there?
air is visible? Yes. Yeah. Well, look, it's right there. Yes. It's everywhere. It's
Oh my god.
In the story, I will tell you, and it's another one of the Grimm's fairy tales, so you know things get a little gory sometimes with that, but the main thing is that there's a girl, she loses her hands, she has to adapt to her environment, she becomes a mother, and she is given silver hands by the king. And so with that story, we're going to be focusing on robot hands. So we live in a modern day and age, and robot hands are pretty common. In factories, I know there are robot arms that will drop screws and nails for you, and then there are robots that will actually fasten things together, build things. I have a video I'm going to show you all just in the background, and you can watch while you're doing product design. For your design, I want you to focus on an arm that can pick up and move these balls. There are 3 different balls. There's a soft plush one, a smaller one, and then there's one that has holes in it somewhere, like a wiffle ball. You want your robot arm to be able to be manipulated to squeeze and pick up. And my last group had some really good ideas. I wanted to talk about where they had air. They just wanted to get the robot arms to like set over stuff and then they could pick it up. Or they thought that they could use the rubber bands and just put it on and it would hold, and sure, that would work. But the point of a robot arm is to be efficient. And if you're having to slip this over it, then it's not doing a job to help you out. So in your design, think about that. You have the following materials. You have some of these like little cable things with holes. There's 3 different sizes. You have nuts and bolts that they will fit in here, so it just kind of works out. Think about like accordion design maybe. You have to work as a team for this. So you need to plan with your team, because the only supplies I have are in these 2 baskets. So you girls are going to have to squeeze in here. like bring some chairs. You can go work with the boys if you want. You can work with we'll just have to share supplies. So you can use the felt, you can use the rubber bands. The only catch is you cannot manipulate it in any way. You cannot cut it or break it or tear it, or you can fold it if that will work for you, but you can't permanently manipulate anything. Okay, I'm gonna give you your planning sheets. Take a few moments. The project name is RoboArm. Take a few moments. You can use words or pictures or both, and think about what your robot arm is gonna look like. Talk to your partner, and then you can start building and testing. If you need to make revisions, do it on your sheet. You may need to work in groups of 3 or 4. Have you all watched like Edward Scissorhands? You know how he kind of is able to use those himself? So you want to think about emotion, like emotion to pick up.
Smaller size, but medium. You guys took over
Something put together that we need to manipulate here.
I don't know. Sometimes you have to get in there, right? I need some more. I'm just attempting to rid him and see what could happen. So are these? Oh, that's okay. I'm going to attach this. Oh, a rubber band. Where do you get a rubber band?
Right here. There's 2 different sizes.
Oh. That looks like a wrench.
So how are you gonna?
Yeah, how are you gonna hold all this inside?
That's just kind of taking it all in, aren't you?
I like it. Wait, where am I?
Classic ABB industrial
I think I got it.
Okay.
And then here. Put them together like this. The hand.
We have 2 $7 to build this humanoid robot. $7.
A lot of times, Mary Jane was talking about fingers. A lot of times robot arms just have 2 fingers. Think about when you pick up something, what do you use?
This has 2 fingers.
So think about 2 fingers maybe.
This is like 2 fingers. Like for an apple. I do this.
Clock.
I can make one of those machine clocks like this.
And they're fine. Use make another one right here and use it like scissors.
What?
Use it like scissors.
Make another one. Make another long one.
Make another one right here with Lakewood and
Where did you say I can't do anything?
like somewhere like maybe here somewhere and then maybe squeeze it.
Computer programs
These
too, like
things
robot
together.
hands are controlled by computer.
Dude, how do you do that? How do you connect 3 fingers?
Science.
Okay, now we just have to create.
And this
Make 5 hands.
other jobs that are
Well, it's hard.
1, 2, 3.
that pick up better if it was shorter.
Well, I think that I see a red softball that's on the ground. See, like this. 5 hands. You're doing exactly what I'm doing. How about just think about? Look. I'm making the one. Yeah, look at the similarities. How about we do 5 hands? Because with 2 fingers we can't do nothing. Yeah, we can.
Do it again.
We can pick up stuff. Like, we have to roll that in one.
Okay, so do you want a small arm or a big arm?
No, small. Not mean big on.
You need something to move that joint right there.
2 more.
this part of the week, we're working on Johnny Appleseed. So we've talked about how he made his trek across the country, often giving away his clothes, not wearing shoes, and we discussed how he would get across the rivers and still have his baby trees and his seeds and whatnot, knowing he could only use the materials he had on hand. So they have several materials to use. They have sticks just straight from the yard sticks. They have some additives. They have some tape instead of string. We have some other little pipe cleaners and straws and things like that. And they're building a raft to not only float, but that will hold their apple. And so far this morning, we've been able to build lots of things that float, but nothing that would hold up our apple as well. So that's going to be the big thing for the big group here, is to see if they can actually get the apple to float with it as well. And it's been really neat to discuss that the apple floats independently, but then once we're putting it with the boat, it's just not floating. So they're drawing up their blueprints now for what they want to build, and then they're going to start building.
Instead of putting the apple in the middle of the raft, or get a bunch of big sticks. The big sticks will work.
You think the big ones are going to help?
What's that all about over there, though?
That's your stuff that you made your predictions on how the apple will fare by Friday.
Nobody even picked lemon.
No one picked lemon juice, but we still want to monitor it and see what it looks like by Friday. So we're going to get those all set up too. Maybe we should have put our predictions too.
I said we get Coke over here.
We will. We'll get them all started. We will. That's what that's for. We'll get it all started. But right now you need to be building your raft with your partner.
What do you smell like apples? The sticks. If you smell like
about 5 sticks.
Okay.
2 straws.
Okay, and no straws?
2 straws, 5 sticks.
2 straws and 5 sticks. Okay. So you're going to pick out what kind of sticks you want to use? Do you want the little skinny ones? Do you want some medium size? There's a couple of big ones.
I almost took all of them.
That's okay. There's more. Here's you some straws like you wanted. Okay, and we've got your tape if you're ready for your tape too, okay?
We're crafting on top of here. We're going to craft on top of here. Yeah, I think we should.
What amount of sticks?
How many pipe cleaners do you do?
What amount of sticks?
How many what?
I'll talk.
How many?
I'll just take 4 for right now. And
Yeah.
4 paper clips.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, you look like a real.
I don't see anything over here that would hold them together.
What do you find
You're going to try to weave them together?
Oh, you look like the dog from the
You better get your partner to help out and take 2 hands to get all of that wove together.
We might need some more. Oh, the big one. Yeah. Brandon, do you think we need more?
Brayden, how are you going to help him weave them together?
I want to try and make it to where the apple will fit inside the bag. I need to fit the
There's a
apple
way you could combine
inside.
both of your ideas. Well, he thinks that this should be the piece, right? What you want to do? You can probably break it together. That's what we were doing earlier.
Yes, I do.
Pull it right.
I think mine. That's white. That's green and it's really hard to break.
Are those the rest of the straws?
That's all the straws that we have.
Where did your partner go?
These aren't. Get that green one. These aren't.
This is all we have. We have very limited resources out in the woods. We've limited your resources today too, sorry.
Oh my gosh, it's in Minecraft sword.
But I know you guys
If there's any really thin pieces, look what I found. It looks like a blade. I wonder what is sword.
Dude, look.
What is sword?
That is perfectly enough space.
Here, I don't know, boy. One minute.
And the straws will help it have a good platform. And the apples will go.
Okay, first do one.
Because see the stick floats.
You got that wet. Don't put it back on the desk. Don't put it back on the desk. Put it on there.
Yeah.
Put it over there.
Hot, dude. It's good.
We gotta go.
It's good. It's up top. You're making it worse.
I already got them too. I said we make this shape of an apple.
Where's your blueprint?
That's over there.
Okay. So what materials do you
Oh no, the word sword. Don't get the word sword. I will do two. I'll hold it. Let me upgrade this. Don't get that. No. Oh no. Yeah, we can make the road just more realistic, like players kind of.
Lincoln, I don't think anyone is making completely out of pipe leadership.
Yeah, I see him.
I think it's a very unique idea.
Yeah,
That's the reason why I'm making it. Because it's completely not.
Because it's completely different. I
Yes.
think that's a good idea. I like it. Which one? Okay, go to the one by the cafeteria, please.
These wooden clippers. I live Minecraft. I live Minecraft. I play video games way too much.
Nice job, Lincoln.
No, actually, this kind of group is really playing.
So right now is where are your apples going to sit on your plate?
In here.
Is an apple going to fit in?
I think we can do like
What do you make sure you're working together and have that happen. I don't know, make sure you do.
Take the apple and like set it like that.
Okay,
Dude, what is
okay. What is,
now when you read.
and your pipe cleaners are holding it all together. Okay.
That's just like extra support in case that kind of goes in. That's probably hold it maybe.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So you think it'll float good?
This one's gonna like flip.
He says yes, you're not sure. Why aren't you sure?
Well, if this is stable to
I was just thinking one of the straws water can go in and it just like sinks and this water can go in that.
Then that would add weight to it, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
What is it?
Do you get it, Lincoln?
and make it
Very
to where
nice.
there's no water.
I think it's a cool idea. We'll try it out in a second. Look, he's woven them all together to make like a little basket to put them in for it to float on the river.
Like a nest?
Kinda, yeah. That's what it reminds me of, is a little bird nest. You're gonna have your apple as a little baby bird. That's kinda cool.
Okay, what are you doing?
How long does it have to hold it?
Just long enough that we can say, hey, it held the apple, it didn't make it sink.
I know it's orange.
Okay?
I always couldn't even.
You need to lay it down and come over here to see how everyone else is doing. Jordan, come over so you can see. We want to be able to discuss what's working and not working. Okay, well the apple fell off, but did the boat float itself? Not really.
And put it right there.
Can we balance it out maybe? So what do you think didn't work?
The
Some of the
apple
boat.
being stable.
Holding the apple still? Think the apple rolled off on us? That may not have helped. What do you think you could have done different, Sam?
Take the apple.
Tape the apple on the boat so it was secure? What else?
A little bit, not put it, scoot it more over here.
Okay. What are you noticing about the cardboard rolls?
Singing.
Check that out. That soaked up that water really fast. Do you know why that is? It's a very, look, even if when it's tearing, you can see the water is all the way inside of it because it's very porous. So it's taking all that water in instead of being able to float. So could you have used on the sides, maybe something different that would have allowed that to float better? All right, let's set this out. Pull your boat out here. Step back, Braden, because they're going to have to come this way with it. And just set it in the sink for right now to dry out, okay?
Here.
Who's next?
All right, whose group wants to go next?
Me. I'm not sure if
That's different.
it won't fit.
Yep. So if it doesn't fit in the water, then that won't do us much good. We can't check it out. Do you have a second one?
Yeah, we have the messed up one. That's the one he made, but I didn't make it. That was random. Our messed up boat. Here's my boat.
Yeah, we got two boats, I guess.
Let's make like a messy boat. The messed up boat.
So this looks like a lot of jumble. Why do you think that is? Like
Because
you
we
have
all-
3 separate boats and you weren't able to check and see if they would fit in your water. What do you think you guys could have done differently maybe?
Make one of them of that.
Well, you could have still used your ideas. I think you guys had some really great ideas in this first one that you worked so much on,
But it's too big.
but it's too big, and so maybe one of you could have been checking that. I think you needed to work on your teamwork skills a little bit more, I think is what I'm trying to say. Then you
Can
would
this
have
one
had
try to
a
work?
better idea on what you were trying to build.
I'm trying to do
All
this
right,
one.
set the wet stuff in the sink.
Did I use this one?
You can try it, sure.
Hey, that's kind of working.
Okay, so your sticks float. Do you think anything's going to float if I lay this apple on it?
Nope.
No, I don't think it's quite big enough for the apple. That's why I said I think you two need to work on your teamwork skills. So you could have built a more cohesive project. Okay?
I put mine to zombie, the only one that floats.
All right, ladies. All right, can you modify it really quickly to make it fit in there? Because yours is a little too long too. Let's hold it up. Do you think maybe you can take just this one? Can we break it off at a different length, or you want to pull it out? It's a smaller one. We might be able to break it. The boys was awful thick. All right. Ready to try it again? Okay, so what was your thinking for the pieces on the side? Because yours is floating still.
It would hold up, and so when we built this and we didn't have these, it wasn't big enough. So we put this on there to try to hold it up, but the apple wasn't stable.
Where does the apple go?
Right
I don't want to put it
middle.
in the wrong spot. Right in the middle?
It's terrible.
So our apple's not really staying, but I think it's kind of a balance thing too. Do you want to try it there? I'm trying to find a spot that... So what could we have changed that would have held up a little better?
Everything.
Your design is good. You don't need to change everything. But let's look at the width of your sticks that are together and the size of your apple. Do you think maybe if you had built out a little further, something that the apple could have laid on maybe?
We couldn't find any really thick sticks.
Well, if you couldn't find thick ones, do you think you could have just used more of what you did find though?
Yes.
I think that might have helped.
Like me.
Yeah, or you could have just been like Lincoln and not even used sticks. Hey guys, I need you to set that down and come on over and watch our experiment, please. All right. Got all of our pieces. All right. This is Lincoln's totally original. No one in 3 classes today has built a boat like this boat. Let's check it out, Lincoln. What's it gonna do?
It's not float,
And it floats great.
but just
Oh, but it didn't hold the apple up. Oh, and now look. Now it's not going to float either. Why do you think that happened?
because the apple held it on too much long.
Because the apple pushed it down for too long?
Yeah.
And when it went under for so long, what did the pipe cleaners do?
It stayed under
They did stay under. Why do you think they stayed under?
because no stick was on it.
Try picking it up now and see what you notice.
Oh, it got wet.
It did get wet, and that water made it heavier, didn't it?
Yes.
So then it wasn't able to stay on top of the water as good. But I love how the cute idea that was.
Yeah.
Is that everybody's groups? Jordan, did you do yours yet? Okay, bring yours over. All right, Jordan. Okay, so it's floating. Where do you want to put your apple lid on it? Do you want to put it? Do you want it to stand up or do you want it to lay down? Use your words. Stand up or lay down?
Stand up.
Stand up. Right in the middle? Okay. Uh-oh, uh-oh. It floated well, but it still couldn't hold the apple up, could it?
No.
No.
Today we read The Gingerbread Man. We are doing STEM activities with the Gingerbread Man. The children made boats out of aluminum foil. We talked about things that sink or float because in the story the Gingerbread Man rides on the fox's back, and so we had to come up with ways that the Gingerbread Man could have gotten across the water instead of riding on the fox. So we made boats. Some of them set a bridge, which we made yesterday because we did the 3 Billy Goats gruff. And we're doing some sink and float activities over here, if you want to walk over here with us.
Is that a little rock, a marble? Let's see if it will sink or float. Oh,
And I got a little pig.
And here's one of the boats the students made. And we put the Gingerbread Man inside of it and see if it would sink or float. But they're just doing problem solving, learning about, how things can stay up in water or how things are heavier so they go under.
look. It's a pig in there right now. It absorbs the water and it sinks, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So with no water, it will float. Now there it goes. Sinking.
Yeah. I want to squeeze on the water.
Right.
McGuire, do you want to try the gingerbread man in the boat?
Do you think he's gonna sink or is he gonna float? Oh my gosh, what's happening? Is he gonna sink or float? Look. Why do you think he sank for, McGuire? Why do you think he sank? Is he heavy or is he light? Why do you think he would sink?
He's heavier.
Right.
And I want to see. These are both bugs, but they're different.
They're different?
Yeah. One is heavy, one's not heavy.
Right. So which one is sinking?
This one.
Is it heavy or light?
Light, and this is heavier.
Right. So the heavier one sank.
Hey, let me do this.
Alright, let's do one at a time.
Let's see if it makes the boat.
Look. Oh, look. She put the heavy block in the boat. And what happened?
It sunk.
It did sink.
Let me put this in. Hey.
Now, put the light block in there and see if it sinks or floats. Okay, wait a sec. Let's try something. Let's put the sail back on. It's a sailboat. Look, it's floating.
But it's tipped, right?
Well, yeah, it did tip.
What is that?
What is that? That's a marble. Did the marble sink or float?
Sink.
It did. Why? Why did the marble sink?
Because it's heavier.
It's heavy.
This is my boat.
Okay, put it in and see if it's going to sink or float. Your boat was floating. Put the gingerbread in the boat and see what happens.
No, let me have
Put the gingerbread.
Let's see if the spider floats.
Yeah.
Do you want to see if this floats?
What do you think? What do you think is going to happen to that?
Hey, let's see if that floats.
Alright, yeah, they're all going to sink, aren't they? Because they're heavy.
Oh, put the, where's that little hand? That's mine. Hey, this is my boat.
That's your boat? Look at all the bugs. All the bugs are sinking.
I can see them.
You can't see? Well, okay. Alright, I think we have enough bugs.
Why do you think the bugs sink?
These are heavy.
Ooh! And the lily pad, look.
It's floating. It's not falling.
It's floating. Why is it floating?
I don't know why.
You don't know why?
Water stinks, right?
Do what? The water, see, watch. Squeeze it out.
It's real, right?
And then put it in there and the water soaks up into it and then it sinks.
Yeah. Mine sink. Now,
You
let's
pushed
do
your
this.
boat down, Grant. So did it float when you pushed it down?
No.
Now why?
Oh, I love your gingerbread man. That is so cool.
I have materials up here. I have baskets and I have pieces of material. What you're going to actually do is you're going to build a parachute. Okay? So the first thing I'm going to have you do, I have papers that look like this. You're going to plan what your parachute is going to look like. And what you're going to end up doing is you have a family. You're going to pretend that your family is out on an outing. They've gone hiking, and you've climbed this big, gigantic hill. But at the top of the hill, there's nothing on the other side. So you have to figure out how to get down off this big hill to the other side at the bottom. It's like a great big cliff, because you can't go back the way you came. You have to keep going forward. So there's a cliff. So you have to design a parachute to get you and your family, the members of your family, safely off of the cliff. Okay? So you can design your parachute. If they want to work together, that's fine. You can work together, you can work separate. But there's enough materials for them each to design their own. There's enough materials for each one of you to make a parachute. And when you finish your design, you can come and get materials to make your, have you finished? Okay, so you're going to choose one basket and one of these materials to design your parachute. Yes, honey. Mm-hmm. And let me show you on one of these. There's a little button on the string part. You can make your strings closer to the basket or further away from the basket. So when you attach it to the material, you have plenty of string. Yes.
There. One.
Okay, you ready to try? I have the 4 family members. I have the mom, the dad, the sister, and the brother. You can choose whichever one you want to use. If you want to use more than one, you can. You have to just tell me what you want. And there are different ways you can put them in the basket. So think about different ways you can put them in the basket. They might be standing up. They might be laying down. You might want a combination of both.
Is it okay if they fall over while they're in there? But don't fall over.
Yeah, that's fine. All right, which one are you going to put in?
The red boy.
The red boy. All right, standing up or laying down?
Laying down.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Was your parachute a success?
Yeah.
How do you know? How do you know it was a success? Your parachute floated to the ground?
Yeah.
And?
And the boy survived.
Yes, he didn't come out of the basket. Okay, bring me. All right, you ready for the next one? All right, back up a little bit, boys.
Okay.
All right, let's see. Okay, did she survive?
So.
How come? What do you think happened?
Upside down.
Oh, it landed upside down. All right, so what can you do to fix it? Or maybe you can redesign your parachute a different way, and maybe you can think of a different way to make it work. Okay, which one are you using?
The dad.
Well, she's the kid.
No, we're using the dad. Fine, we'll use the kid, the boy.
The boy?
Can we pick more than one?
You can pick more than one.
No, we're just gonna pick her.
You just want the boy?
Yeah.
All right, let's try. Let's see, did it work?
You survived.
He landed on it.
He landed on the
He landed on the top.
on the top of it. Okay.
Did it work?
Ours was pretty good.
It worked.
See,
All right, which one do you want?
the mama.
Huh?
The mama.
The mama. Okay.
Do we take it apart?
If you want to do a different one, you can. You can try different ways.
Different one? Yeah.
All right, you ready?